Hello everybody and Happy New Year, first video of 2025. It's time to recap December because I watched around 34 movies during that month for the first time, and I'm gonna go over my top 10 favorite first time watches of the month of December. Number 10, Carry On. Carry On is a Netflix original, and who knew that Netflix could still cook up something really good? And oh boy, did they cook up something really good. Jason Bateman is fantastic in this role. I'm used to seeing him in comedies, so this was a very nice change of pace, and he pulled it off, man. Very calm, yet very, threatening at the same time. Our main character, played by Taron Egerton, also really good. He's just running around this damn airport, and the more the movie goes along, the more I'm on the edge of my seat, especially towards the final few moments. Carry On has such a great mix of suspense and action, and I was genuinely wondering if Jason Bateman was going to succeed in his little mission. This movie does take place on Christmas Eve, and I wouldn't be upset if this became like a modern-day Christmas classic. It's a really cool movie, and it's so much fun. If you haven't seen it, it's blowing up on Netflix right now, I believe, so go give it a watch. Number 9, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. I've been catching up on some of these all-timer movies, and I started with Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. I went into this movie thinking I was gonna love it, and you know what? It's pretty damn good. Jim Carrey is so great in this thing. He's moody and depressed, and again, another actor I see in usually comedic roles, but he crushes it. It has so many devastating moments, but there are some sweet moments sprinkled in there as well, but overall, it's kind of a bummer-ish movie. However, as good as it is, something just didn't really click for me. I thought I would like it a whole lot more, but I am not disappointed whatsoever. Just want to make that clear. It just didn't reach the heights that I thought it was going to, but that's totally okay. Some movies aren't for everybody, but I still absolutely love this. And honestly, maybe a rewatch could help. Number 8, 10 Things I Hate About You. This is a nearly perfect rom-com. The vibes and the atmosphere are off the charts. The soundtrack is great. Speaking of great, the cast is just, they all work together so well. Every character, I love them to death. Heath Ledger, Julia Stiles, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Larissa Oleynik, and David Krumholtz. They play these characters so well. Krumholtz as Michael is probably the main highlight for me. I believe this is the only Heath Ledger movie I've seen other than The Dark Knight, and it's just so weird to see him younger and not playing the Joker. It's just, I don't know, but he kills it. He kills it in this rom-com. Him and Julia Stiles have such great chemistry, and you're rooting for them the whole time, but you know the story behind why his character is dating her to begin with. So you're oh, please don't get revealed. Oh no, secret got revealed. But of course it's gonna have a situation like that because it's a 90s rom-com. Really, I have no complaints about it. Even the side characters, Allison Janney plays this really horned up book writing principal or whatever, or I think she's a counselor, but her character, even though she's only in it for 5 minutes max, I loved her character. Wish there was more of her. I don't think anyone could hate this movie, whether you like romantic comedies or not. Number 7, Challengers. I'm gonna rush through Challengers because it was in my top 10 movies of 2024 video that I just dropped last week. Zendaya, Mike Faced, and Josh O'Connor are a wonderful trio, and I'm sure pretty much they're gonna be an iconic trio from now on into the future. The movie jumps all over the place in the timeline of the trio's relationship. Tashi and Patrick, then Tashi with Art and Patrick being really close best friends, and then obviously throwing Tashi in there. Mixing everything up. I'm on the edge of my seat seeing who's going to end up with Zendaya by the end of the movie. And I don't really even care about tennis, but every tennis match that is shown in this movie is filmed so intensely, especially the one that's being played all throughout the movie, and we end on it. Wow, did not think I'd be into a tennis movie this much. Number 6, La La Land. I'm pretty sure this is one of the most beloved movies of all time, and you know what? I get it. Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone are two of my favorite actors ever, and I loved them so much together in this movie. The ending of La La Land is so brutal, but it makes the movie feel a bit more real, and that's what I really like about it. There are so many cool shots in this thing. It's very sweet, very funny, and it's also a musical, and that's possibly the main thing holding it back from being even higher on this list. Ryan Gosling's piano playing is lovely, but the musical numbers just didn't really latch on to me all that much. It still is a really good movie, and I've been waiting to watch this thing forever, and I finally did. I finally sat my dumb ass down and watched it. It's wonderful. I mean, it's heartbreaking, but it's still wonderful, and I would gladly watch it again. Number 5, Interstellar. Again, another nearly perfect movie. Matthew McConaughey is an actor I've always liked, but seeing his performance in this, it just made me an even bigger fan. Other than Matthew McConaughey, we got two cool robot dudes, Tars and Case, and they're a small little highlight of this movie. I love them so much. Tars' humor setting being a running joke throughout the movie Love that. The whole cast plays their part well. Just the first chunk of the movie alone, where it's just Cooper and his family, it's already great, but then they go even crazier when we get to the space stuff. But just like some of the other movies on this list, there is something holding it back from being perfect, and it's the ending for me. The bit towards the end just didn't really land with me. Maybe I just didn't understand the fifth dimension stuff or the love is the key thing. But it didn't ruin the movie for me, and that's good. The movie is nearly 3 hours long, but the first half of it flies by, and that's always going to be really impressive to me when a longer movie doesn't feel like it's a longer movie. It makes it easy for me to rewatch, and Interstellar is such a gorgeous movie. I could rewatch it every other week, and it would probably never get watered down. It is such a good freaking movie. Like I said, I'm trying to catch up on these all-timers, and Interstellar is an all-timer. Number 4, Inception, another Christopher Nolan movie on this list. I like this just for the same reasons as Interstellar, but the one thing I'll say about Inception is that it doesn't really lose me at the end like Interstellar did. I really enjoyed the whole dream inside of a dream thing. It's a real wonky movie. This was actually my first time ever watching a Leonardo DiCaprio movie, and you know what? He's alright, I guess. Going back to the characters, they're all pretty much likable, and if you have a heist slash team movie, if all the characters are likable in that team, in that unit, that's going to be a major plus. Usually there's always one that I don't really care about, but I love everybody in this thing. Towards the end, we get Joseph Gordon-Levitt's zero-gravity bomb planting scene, and that is just great stuff. All of the dream stuff and how they explained it, I think it really worked for me, because as long as I think I kind of know how it works, I'm going to be satisfied. They have to explain a lot of stuff in Inception, but even though there's so much explanations and so many theories and so much science stuff getting thrown into this movie, I don't think it lost me at all, and I think that's really cool that I was hooked as much as I was. Number 3, Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Knuckles, Tails, Sonic, I love them all to death. Tails, I feel like it's a bit more time to shine in this. Jim Carrey as Gerald Robotnik and Dr. Robotnik absolutely kills it. There's a dance scene from the movie that's been floating around on Twitter, so if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. Oh my god, it's so damn funny. And then obviously there's Shadow, pretty much the main attraction for Sonic 3, and I love everything about Shadow. The last 30 minutes of this movie are fantastic. I watched it opening weekend, packed theater, everybody was cheering. Even the little end credit scene with a certain character being introduced, they were leaving the theater, but they were making sure to keep their eyes on the screen, and they all cheered. It's like I was watching Avengers Infinity War all over again, and I love that kind of atmosphere in a movie theater. As strange as it sounds, I did not expect Sonic the Hedgehog 3 to feel like a big blockbuster movie. I knew I was gonna like it heading into the theater, but it just felt like I was watching an amazing superhero slash action movie, which it kind of is. Number 2, Wicked. Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande absolutely kill it. Glinda, Elphaba, love those characters to death. Ariana is so funny. Cynthia is so damn talented. Every song that she sings is powerful, and I have added it to my Spotify playlist because it rocks. This is probably the movie I talked about most in my top 10 of 2024 video, but the main thing I want to give praise to is the Defying Gravity final song, the closing moments of the movie, one of the most powerful endings I have ever witnessed. I cried, and I didn't even originally want to see Wicked at first, but now I am a changed man, and I am seated for Wicked Part 2. Let's freaking go. Number 1, Flow. Best animated movie of all time. I said one of the best, or the best of 2024, but in my opinion, I've had time to sit with it. Every time I think about this movie and the story it tells and just everything about it, I love Flow so damn much. From the cat to the capybara to the Labrador to the secretary bird to the lemur who's obsessed with this little mirror, which is so funny. All these animals on a boat trying to navigate through this giant flood. So many emotional moments. Such a beautifully animated movie. It has somewhat of a different look compared to other big animated movies. This was wonderful. There's no dialogue in this, just animal noises and, their body language. It still tells a complete story. For 2024, my top 3 movies have shuffled. It was originally Deadpool and Wolverine, then it was The Substance. Flow was always hanging around that number 3 spot, but the more I talk about Flow, whether it's in videos or just talking to my friends about it, the more I think that Flow might be my movie of 2024. And I don't know if it's still playing at any theaters. I don't think it had that big of a release, but I had the chance to watch it in theaters and I was blown away. And if you get the chance to watch it, go and watch it. It's Wonderful. And there you have it. That is my top 10 first time watches of the month of December, the last month of 2024. I mean, it's the last month of every year, technically, but whatever. Later this week, there will be a tier list of almost all of the movies I watched in 2024. That way you can get my opinions on everything that came out for the most part. I missed a few things. There's a lot of videos I have planned. I have a whole schedule written out, but I will see you in all my upcoming little videos. Goodbye.